Alright, so this is gonna be a quick video, but I think it's safe to say that we're all kind of looking forward to seeing Star Wars Episode 9 in one capacity or another. Whether you hated The Last Jedi or loved it, most people are a little curious to see where the franchise is going to go after the last installment, and how the trilogy is going to end. I was getting a little antsy waiting for Disney and Lucasfilms to drop a trailer. I mean, it's April and the movie drops in December. And aside from casting announcements and rumors, we haven't really seen a whole lot about the movie at all. Then the trailer happened, and it was atmospheric and intriguing. I'm excited. Then Mother effing Sheev Palpatine's voice shows up in the end, and my brain's like, what? That creepy old man's still alive? But then I remember that this is Star Wars, and death isn't always final in the Star Wars universe. You can literally get cut in half and fall down a pit and come back with spider legs and a strong desire for vengeance. So despite Vader dumping him down a big hole like a sack of potatoes, which, by the way, is my favorite part of Return of the Jedi, aside from this, it's possible that he could have survived. We saw in The Last Jedi that Force wielders can use the Force to survive in space. And Emperor Palpatine was well trained and far more powerful than we know Leia to be in the films. So it's possible that he could have survived in space and the explosion of the second Death Star and old age to survive for this long. I mean, he wanted to cheat death, that's why he told Anakin the story of Dark Plagueis the Wise in the first place. Maybe he found a way how to. But my problem isn't really how Palpatine survived, but the significance of why he survived. Because aside from Kylo Ren, maybe none of the characters would have a connection with him, making his presence a little irrelevant. What makes or breaks a film is the characters' connections to one another. A strong hero-villain conflict equals a more interesting plot and compelling story most of the time. So aside from there really not being any evidence about him still being active in The Force Awakens or in The Last Jedi, his inclusion's a little bit weird. There were fan theories that Snoke was Palpatine, but in The Last Jedi he kind of got shanked in half by a lightsaber. But I mean, again, death doesn't mean much in the Star Wars universe. And because of Rian Johnson's direction with the movie, The Last Jedi is a little like the black sheep of the franchise because it broke the lore and broke the rhyme scheme that the other films established. We're like in the Wild West right now, so just about anything can go because of how the last movie went. But back to the connection thing, the only character who had a direct connection with Palpatine is dead. Luke's gone. Leia, at least in the movies, never met Palpatine. I think she did in the extended canon, but Disney kind of wiped that slate clean. Lando's never met Palpatine, neither is Chewie. Han's dead, but he never met him anyway. So that leaves the new main cast of Rey, Finn, Poe, Rose, and Kylo Ren, and none of them have met Palpatine at all. That being said, it's odd if they choose to have the main conflict of the final movie in the trilogy be between the protagonists, Rey specifically, and Palpatine, a villain none of them have ever met. There wouldn't be any emotional weight or stakes because none of them were around for when he was ruling the galaxy with Vader. None of them have come in direct contact with him, and I doubt that any of them know who he is. We have to remember that at the start of this trilogy in The Force Awakens, the idea of the Force and the Sith and the Jedi have turned into a myth. At best we can hope that he was the one pulling the strings with Kylo Ren and influencing him through Snoke or something, but I just think it's kind of weird that they were like, hey, let's throw Palpatine back in the franchise. Here comes a new challenger, when none of the main characters know who he is aside from hearsay, probably. Kylo Ren was such a Darth Vader fanboy that I'm sure he's gotta know who Palpatine is, but, like, Rey's not gonna care. Unless Luke shows up as a Force ghost and is like, hey Rey, my dad's master who tried to kill me is back from the grave. Can you take care of him for me please? I'm dead. It's not really gonna matter. Well, not to her. Aside from her being the hero of this trilogy, there's no emotional connection that would compel Rey to want to defeat Palpatine or even make for an interesting story to watch. Like, let's look at the Avengers for a second. Imagine we'd never seen Thanos. Ever. Until Avengers Infinity War. The only knowledge we had about Thanos were comics that came out 30 plus years ago, and some of the Marvel cartoons we watched as kids. It'd be cool to see him back, and the nostalgia would have me excited to see him because I've seen older incarnations of him. But thematically, I wouldn't feel invested in rooting for the Avengers as they head towards the end of their arc because they wouldn't have a connection with him. Thanos being the big bad of the MCU's Phase 3 made sense. Hearing about him gathering strength, making enemies whether it was Drax or Gamora and Nebula, being the cause of fear for Tony Stark for years, ever since the first Avengers movie. They teased and built up this evil California raisin for 6 years, so when he finally shows up, we were pumped because they'd slowly been building up the characters' arcs and journeys to actually take him on. It kinda doesn't work for Palpatine to be the big bad for Episode 9 or for him to even show up. Again, if some sort of connection had been established in the previous two movies, or some sort of build-up, I'd get it, but there's no precedent for Rey or any of the other protagonists wanting to or needing to defeat Palpatine as the final boss of the trilogy, or for him to even have that much of an impact on the current plot. I mean, what are they gonna do, make a whole other trilogy with Palpatine being the main bad guy again, or... Disney, what is going on over there? What's happening? I don't know exactly what they have planned for Palpatine. if he's just going to be a cameo or if he's the main antagonist for the trilogy or what the deal is. It's way too early to tell, but I'm intrigued. But what do you guys think? Are you excited about Palpatine being back in the franchise? What role do you think he'll play? Leave your thoughts down in the pit. Like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Also, I'm going to be making a few changes to the channel. I want to make a new intro and outro. So if you see, like, I don't know, new graphics and things like that, just bear with me because I'm trying to get my footing. But thanks again for watching. Alright, bye. I mean, he wanted to cheat death. That's why he told Anakin the story of Dark Plagueis. Gosh dang it, Star Wars stupid names.